vador nagi godlecha ledor vador nagi godlecha ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish ledor vador nagi godlecha ledor vador nagi godlecha ulenetzachim kedushatcha nagdish v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush leolam va'ed Ki el melech gadol vekadosh ata ledor vador nagi godlecha ledor vador nagi godlecha ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish Ve'al kulam Eloha slicho slach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu Ve'al kulam Eloha slicho slach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu for all of these we ask one thing of you forgive us return us grant us life anew. Ve'ya kulam Elohai Slicho Slach lanu Echal lanu Kaper lanu. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai, yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai, yai dai, dai 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 dai. Yai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai, dai. Yai dai dai dai. Yai dai 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 dai.
What was their name?
Hayom harat olam, Hayom yami b'mishpat, Kol yitzurei olamim, Im kevanim, im kavadim, Im kevanim Rachameinu.
Shana Tova, Shabbat Shalom. If I can just get everybody's attention, if you can start to find your seats, we'll get the service going. Just a couple announcements that I want to make, other than ones that we normally make on Friday. For safety and courtesy, please silence your cell phones, turn off all electronic devices, so anybody hears anything, just remember too that we are streaming the service, so if you hear a microphone or a camera, just wanted to let you know that.
Hayom harat olam, Hayom yami b'mishpat, Kol yitzurei olamim, Im kevanim, im kavadim, Im kevanim Rachameinu kerachem aval banim, ve'im ka'avadim eineinu lecha teluyo, ad shetechanenu v'totzi Chaor Mishpateinu Ayom Kadosh.
We're going to begin with words of welcome. We turn our books to page 6. Hine matov, how good and wonderful it is to be together.
And please feel free to join in. Oh, how good and how beautiful it is when we all dwell together as one. Join us. Shevet achim gam yachad. Now those English words. How good, how beautiful it is when we all together as one. How beautiful it is when we all dwell together as one.
L'shana tova. Let's try that again. Lishana Tova.
Lishana Tova.
It's wonderful to be with you. Powerful to look out at all of you and see people that I have grown to know and love over the last 19 years, 20 high holy days that we have been together. I also deeply appreciate those of you who are joining us online as well. Thank you, all of you, for letting me be a part of your life. The honor of being your rabbi and your friend means so much to me. I feel blessed every day to work with a talented staff and dedicated volunteer leaders, ably led by our president, Gary Gilbert. I'm so lucky to share my life with my wife, Karen, and my amazing kids, Sam, Eli, and Abby. So much has changed since we've gathered last year, and so much has stayed the same in our world, in my life, and in yours. Whether in person or online, we gather as one community tonight and also as individuals. And as has become our custom here at TBI, I would like to acknowledge that much has happened to us this year. We come to this service with the joys and the sorrows and the experiences that we've had over the last year. And so let's acknowledge those together. Some of you have celebrated a birth of a baby, a bar bat mitzvah, a wedding, a special anniversary or birthday, a conversion to Judaism. If you or anyone in your family has celebrated a joyous milestone during this last year, please stand up. I wish you Mazal Tov, and we all rejoice with you. You can sit. Some of you have seen marriages end or lost a job, experienced surgery, suffered from illness, or mourned the loss of a loved one. If you've been through a painful time in this last year, please stand.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
You can be seated. My prayers and the prayers of our life-giving community are with you. And of course, one of the things we notice is that so many of us stand for both of those things in our lives. Our lives are mixtures of those joys and of those sorrows. Temple Beth Israel is your community, and each of us is responsible for making this new year a good one. So let's take a moment right now. Introduce yourself to somebody near you. Wish them a Shana Tova. If you're online, you can wish a Shana Tova in the chat. Say hello. All right. We're going to refocus. Thank you for taking a moment, and I hope you'll find other opportunities to continue your conversation. Being with you helps me to face the new year with hope and with courage. May we inspire and strengthen each other. I conclude with the traditional Sephardic blessing for the new year. May the old year and its curses end, and may the new year and its blessings begin. Lishana Tova. Page 9.
The time is now
turn to page 11, and I would like to invite Lisa Bush and Karen Kupitz to help us to kindle our festival and Shabbat lights. We are on page 11, and they share us all year long with the congregation, but especially in these days leading up to the High Holy Days when we are preoccupied with getting everything ready, and we're so appreciative of all the support and love that Karen and Lisa bring to us. It's a little high.
I just turned it on. I didn't place it.
The first mitzvah in the Torah is let there be light. So we are commanded, in everything you do, be a menorah, a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity. Do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretched upward, striving for the good, reaching for you.
Please rise if you're comfortably able to do so.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat v'shel Yom Tov, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazaman
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through your sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah, bringing light on Shabbat and this festival. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
Amen. I just have to go one to the other.
You may be seated.
In the right order.
We turn to page 13, and I'd like to invite Heidi Howard to come lead us.
This autumn night, the shades of darkness in the sky are signs of Earth's turning the fleeting ways of nature. And we, drawn together in this holy house, filled with New Year's hope and light, turn our hearts towards you in prayer, in worship, seeking life's essence. In the presence of your love, we feel the nearness of those who bless our lives, even in death. Precious memories of their love restore our strength, renew our faith in life's goodness. We acknowledge with gratitude the life you have given us, the bounty that sustains us, your comfort in sickness and sorrow, your compassion in valleys of despair. God of years, God of eternity, bless us now and always. Bless our homes and our families. Be with us in our dreams and in our hopes. Be with us through these days of awe as we search our souls within and seek the lasting shelter of your love.
We turn to page 15. Larry, will you come up?
תיקעו וקורא שופר בכסל יום חגנו, כי חוק ישראל הוא משפט לאלוהי יעקב. הללו ותקע שופר.
At the new moon, at the full moon, for our feast day, sound the shofar, for that is the law of Israel, the way of the God of Jacob. Praise God with the blast of the shofar. If you're comfortably able to do so, I ask you to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Shomea, 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 Kol teruah Amo Yisrael, Berachamim, Berachamim, Berachamim. Tekiah. Amen.
You may be seated. It's just a foretaste, a little bit. So in a moment, Cantor Bush will chant the Hineni prayer, the words of the Chazan of the cantor, as the cantor stands before God carrying the prayers of the congregation. I'd like us to think, all of us, about what are the things that we carry with us this year. What do we bring into this place? There's a personal reflection on page 16 that you can reflect on if you'd like as you hear the words of Hineni. But each of us has our offerings that we bring this year. What is it that you bring? What is it that you need? And how can we allow these holidays to both make our offering and also to be a place that nourishes us during this time? Hineni, pages 16 and 17 in the Hebrew text.
Hineni, hey ani vimas, v'nir ha'shinivchan mipachan yoshev tehilot Yisrael, Banti lamod ulchanen lefanecha al amcha Yisrael asher shelachuni ve'af al pi sheni chedai ve'agur lechach al kein avakeshecha Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Elohim, Shaddai Ayom Menorah, Heva Matzliach Darki, Asher Anochi Holech La'amol Levakesh Rachamim Alai Ve'al Sholachai V'nal Avtavshem V'chatotai Ve'al Techavem Ve'avonotai Kichotei Ufosheya Ani. Bottom of 18. Ba'avur Kol HaTzadikim VeHachasidim HaTemimim VeHaYisharim Uvavur Kevod Shimcha Hagadol VeHanorah Ki Ata Shomeya Tfilat Amcha Yisrael Berachamim Baruch Atah Shomea, 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 Shomea Tfilah.
If you're comfortably able to do so, please rise. Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessing in the year 5784. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. Please remain standing. And we continue with Baruch Hu, our call to prayer, page 20. To lead us on page 23.
Bless Adonai, who spins day into dusk. With wisdom watch the dawn gates open. With understanding let time and seasons come and go. With awe perceive the stars in lawful orbit. Morning dawns, evening darkens, darkness and light yielding one to the other. Yet each distinguished and unique. Marvel at life, strive to know its ways, seek wisdom and truth, the gateways to life's mysteries. Wondrous indeed is the evening twilight.
We continue toward the bottom of the Hebrew on page 22.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני Amariv Haravim.
Page 24, we read together in the English. Love beyond all space and time. Your love enfolds your people, Yisrael. We receive it in your teaching, your gift of Torah, sacred obligations, discipline, and law. So let us speak these teachings when we lie down and rise up, and find joy forever in your Torah and mitzvot. They are the very essence of our lives, ours to ponder and study all our days, where we never lose or be unworthy of your love. For you are blessed, the one who loves your people Israel. We continue toward the bottom of the top Hebrew paragraph.
אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני. ברוך שמו. אוי עמו ישראל.
Continue in just a moment with Shema Yisrael on page 26 and 27, and then with this English version of Ve'ahavta, You Shall Love, which you'll find at number 4 on your song sheet. Those who can comfortably able to do so, I invite you to rise for Shema.
Israel
page 33, I invite Cynthia Bassett to lead us.
To break the bonds of anger, to be generous of heart, to break the bonds of shame, to live with self-respect, to break the bonds of envy, to serve one another in joy, to break the bonds of boredom, to be attentive to all God's gifts, to break the bonds of fear, to live with courage and strength, to untie the knots of betrayal, to love with fullness of being, to break the bonds of loneliness, to receive a hand of hope, to break the bonds of self-centeredness, to extend a hand of help. Released from darkness, our people found their freedom at the sea, and we pray for liberation at the dawning of this year.
We'll continue with Micha Mocha, page 34. Thank you so
Okay, I am לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי ודררה את יעקב, גלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני. כל ישראל.
Page 37, I invite Phyllis Blackie to lead us.
Darkness settles slowly across the horizon. The new year rises before us, its fragile moon awaiting our embrace. Heaven and earth entwine in their annual dance of recreation. A fissure appears in the firmament tonight, an entranceway into new beginnings. Out beyond the swales, the sea expands and contracts, keeping time to the thrumming of the universe. Under this Rosh Hashanah sky, the path before us is uncertain. All we can do is hold each other tight as we make our way home.
Toward the bottom of the Hebrew on page 36, bottom of the top paragraph of Hebrew.
ושמור צאתנו בואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני. הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Page 38, we are at a time that this year Rosh Hashanah falls not only on the first of Tishrei, which it always falls on, which is the first of the Hebrew month of the year, but it's also Shabbat. So we're going to sing together Vishamru, giving thanks for the gift of Shabbat.
This one you know. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasso et HaShabbat L'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat Lasso et HaShabbat L'dorotam berit olam. Ve'ni u'vein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat laso et HaShabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat laso et hashabat l'dorotam berit olam. V'yom hashvi Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash. Ve'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat laso et HaShabbat l'dorotam berit olam.
And now a few words from our sponsor. I'd like to invite our president, Gary Gilbert, to share some thoughts with you.
Thank you, Rabbi. On behalf of your Board of Trustees, I wish you Shabbat Shalom, and I wish all of you Shana Tova, and perhaps for those of us of a certain age, perhaps a good Yontif as well. I'm certainly of that age. I'm very honored to stand here today as president of Temple Beth Israel. As some of you here will know, I have been here before. And as some of you have said to me in recent days, and indeed some of you had said to me this very evening, are you out of your mind? Why would you want to be president again? And my first answer has been and remains, you do not say no to Laura Zuckerman. Now let me be clear, I do not mean that Laura was planning on breaking my kneecaps if I said no, I think. Rather, for the past 2 years, Laura has worked tirelessly and effectively as president, and when she asked me if I would succeed her, I simply could not say no. Saying yes was my way of repaying her for everything that she has done for TBI. But there's another reason, and this is a tale of two cities. Earlier this year, I had the pleasure that many academics enjoy of being on sabbatical. For the first 3 months, I spent that time living in Tel Aviv, in Israel. And I have to tell you, I love Tel Aviv. I love its beaches. I love the parade of people on Friday mornings as they go about their pre-Shabbat rituals. I especially love its food and its restaurants. And I even love its people. After that time in Tel Aviv, I spent the next 2 months in Warsaw, Poland. And I love Warsaw. Or, as my friend and colleague Tammy Schneider said to me, those are words I never expected to hear from a Jew. But it's true. I love Warsaw. I love its beautiful parks. I love its museums and its concert halls. I especially love, guess, its food. And its restaurants have served me some of the best meals of my life. And I love its people. And in many ways, Tel Aviv and Warsaw are very similar. There is, however, one major difference. And I'm not talking about the weather. For me, Tel Aviv is home. When I walk along the streets of Tel Aviv, I feel that I am among family. Okay, sometimes a dysfunctional family, but nonetheless a family. When I go to a concert, or shop in a store, or sit in a cafe, I feel that I belong there. In Tel Aviv, I am part of a community. And even more than that, Tel Aviv gives meaning to my life as a Jew and as a person in the ways that Warsaw never could. And I feel very much the same here in the United States. I have lived with my family in Claremont for 25 years. And, you guessed it, I love Claremont. It is a beautiful city with amazing people. I could eat every meal of my life with food sourced only from Cheese Cave and the Farmer's Market. Claremont is truly a wonderful place to live. But for me, it's not home. It's not the place where I experience that feeling of belonging, nor a place that brings meaning to my life. For me, home is here in Temple Beth Israel. TBI is the place where I have experienced some of the greatest joys of my life, where I have given and received support for great sadness, and where I have reflected on and gained insight into significant problems. When I am at TBI, I am among family. Many of you are my good friends. Some of you are my crazy uncles. But you are all family. TBI has given me so much that I felt obligated to give back in return. And that is why, in addition to Laura, that I agreed to serve again as president. I needed to repay that debt that has been given, that gift has been given to me, and do what I can do to see that TBI remains the vibrant and welcoming community that I and my family have called home for 25 years. Now it's your turn. I encourage each of you over the coming year and in the years ahead to join me and consider TBI your home. I hope that you will find your own ways of benefiting from the myriad of programs and the services that TBI has to offer, from worship to study, opportunities for social gatherings, community service, and social justice. But also, and perhaps even more importantly, I hope that you will take this sense of belonging and find ways of contributing yourself to everything that this synagogue does, whether that is serving on a committee, assisting with the development and staffing of programs, or helping with the delivery of challah. There are so many ways to become involved, and TBI is here for you, and I very much hope that you will be here for TBI. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, with your renewed sense of commitment, one day, one of you, one day, may also become president. And when you do, I will stand beside you and greet you and say to you, welcome home. Shabbat shalom, l'shana tova umtucha.
We turn to page 40, and we continue with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Ve'alma divrach hirutei, ve'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayedecho ben Yisrael, ba'galav izman kariv, ve'imeru. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh, Shemei dekudeshah. Leila, min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ve'alma, ve'beru.
We turn to page 42. In a moment, we'll sing together the opening parts of page 42, the asking God to open our lips and our hearts to declare words of praise and blessing. And then we'll continue silently for our evening Amidah. Might pay special attention to some of the insertions on page 51, 52, 50 that are special for the holidays. Maybe that's where you can place your attention as we go through, and then we'll come back together on page 52. So I invite everybody who is comfortable doing so to rise. And we'll join on page 42 and then continue silently. We continue middle of page 52.
אתה ונורא שמך ונלוה מבלעדיך ככתוב ויקבע אדוני צבאות במשפט והאל הקדוש נקדש בצדקה ay 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 Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch Shemo, HaMelech HaKadosh.
Amen. You may be seated. We continue on the bottom of page 54. I invite Karen Rosenthal to lead us.
Our God, God of the generations before us, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. May it be heard and seen by you, winning your favor and reaching your awareness, together with the memory of our ancestors and the memory of your sacred city, Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety, well-being, and favor, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of remembrance.
We are on the top of page, We are on the top of page 55. You ready? Eternal our God, remember us.
Zochreinu Adonai Eloheinu bo letova.
Be mindful of us.
Ufakdeinu bo livracha.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Ve'oshienu bo
We continue on page 59 on the bottom half of the page. I invite Amy Warshaw to lead us.
Once there was a prince who sailed to faraway countries. Many years passed, and at last the prince thought of coming back. For a moment he felt shame. He had been away so long. So much time had passed since he last saw his home. Then he said to himself, I must not be ashamed to come back. After all, it is to my own ancestral property that I return. So it is with us. No matter how far we have wandered from the Torah, it remains our own possession. For the scripture says, Moses charged us with this teaching as the heritage of the congregation of Jacob. Each of us has our own portion of the Torah. It belongs to us. And when we take up the story of Torah, we are coming home.
We continue 3 lines up from the center Hebrew paragraph on page 58.
V'taher libenu le'avdecha be'emet, ki ata Elohim emet, u'dvarecha emet, v'kayam le'an. Baruch atah Adonai, Melech HaKol HaAretz, Mikadesh HaShabbat Israel. Melech HaKol HaAretz, Mikadesh HaShabbat Israel. Melech HaKol HaAretz, Mikadesh HaShabbat v'Yisrael. Melech al kol haaretz. Mikadesh HaShabbat v'Yisrael. Melech al kol haaretz. Mikadesh HaShabbat v'Yisrael. V'yom hazikaron.
We continue on page 61. I'd like to invite Kelly Kolb to lead us.
May the hands of our brothers and sisters who cherish the dust of our land, all of them, wherever they are, be strong. Do not give up in spirit, in joy, and in song. Come together as one for the sake of our people.
We continue on page 64. In the Hebrew.
וכל החיים יודוך סלע, ויעללו את שמך באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו,
הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות.
Amen. Page 66. Let's read together in the middle of the page. Peace, profound and lasting, all-embracing. Peace, let this be your gift to Israel, your people. In your goodness, author of peace, bless us and all people, every season, every hour, with the peace that is yours to give. Let us and the whole family of Israel be remembered and inscribed in the book of life. May it be a life of goodness, blessing, and prosperity. May it be a life of peace. You are the blessed one, eternal source of shalom. We now continue in the Hebrew on page 66.
וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך בספר חיים ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה ניזכר וניכתב וניכתב לפניך אנחנו לכבודך בית ישראל לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני ברוך שמו עושה השלום.
If you're comfortably able to do so, please rise as the ark is opened. Page 75. We haven't forgotten Avinu Malkeinu. With me on the indented text. Though we've overthrown kings and we disobey fathers, and we have no great liking for absolute power, Akiva stood before you in a time of drought, and his words went up like a flame on the altar. Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our ruler. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion for us. He was humble and forgiving, so his prayer was answered. Tonight we speak again in a time of drought. Dry ground beneath us, no water, only rock. Not a hunger for bread or a thirst for water, but hearts that are longing to hear God's voice. For the sea of faith is all but gone, and tides gone out on the empty beach. The world mocks our hopes and life tests our courage. Why do the wicked live on and prosper? Why are you silent when they prey on the innocent? And if your dominion is kindness and justice, why is creation in so much pain? Avinu Malkeinu, sustain our souls. Send rain to our roots. Help us find a way to pray. Make us humble and forgiving of ourselves and one another. Avinu Malkeinu, renew these words. Help us to speak them with conviction and believe their truth. 100 generations have stood before the ark, and they lifted up their voices like flame on the altar. They put their trust in kindness and justice, and they gave their strength to make the promise real. Avinu Malkeinu, we haven't forgotten. Avinu Malkeinu, bring us back to you. And we continue with the choir leading us, Avinu Malkeinu, page 77.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chomol aleinu. Ve'alol aleinu, v'tapeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kodveinu, B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chodesh Aleinu, Chodesh Aleinu, Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu.
Bottom of page 77. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Koneinu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Koneinu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu Avinu Malkeinu, Konenu Vanenu, Kievanu Masim.
Shana Tova. In February and March, I was in Israel for a little over a month. During that time, I met with leaders of the Israeli Reform Movement. I heard from members of Knesset, the Israeli parliament. I spent time in the West Bank meeting with Palestinians and listening to their stories. I traveled around the countries, visiting many of my favorite places, and like Gary, eating in terrific restaurants. And I also participated in a few of the pro-democracy protests, joining over 100,000 others, waving Israeli flags and raising our voices to preserve the vibrant liberal democracy in Israel. The Israeli Reform Movement has officially endorsed the protest. Its slogan is, "Because of our Judaism, we must protect democracy." Rabbi Rick Jacobs, the president of the Union for Reform Judaism here in North America, spoke in Hebrew at one of the demonstrations that I attended and offered the support of the U.S. Reform Movement as a voice for liberal democracy. I have spoken many times about Israel from this bima and in classes. Many of you know that I spent 2 years living in Israel, that Karen and I met there when we were studying at the Hebrew University during our junior year of college, and that I have returned many times. This last winter and spring, our daughter Abby spent a semester of high school studying at the Reform Movement's Heller High in Israel. Israel is an important part of my Jewish identity. I love Israel, and I believe that a connection to Israel is essential for American Jews, for our own experience of Jewish peoplehood, and our sense of security in the world. The last few decades, Israel's economy has flourished. Its tech sector has boomed, and it has been dubbed the startup nation. Israel has many serious challenges, which I have spoken about many times. Divisions between religious and secular, Arab and Jew, Ashkenazi and Mizrahi, the 56-year military rule over Palestinians in the West Bank and the growth of settlements, the threat of Iran, and the instability of other neighbors like Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon. Despite these difficult challenges, Israel has thrived. Not long ago, I went to the Laemmle Theater to see the movie Golda, which chronicles the 18 days of the Yom Kippur War, of which we are marking the 50th anniversary this year. During the early days of the war, it was unclear whether Israel would survive. This was the last time that Israel's existence as a Jewish and democratic state was at immediate risk. Tonight, I want to share with you my fear and my concern for a country that I love. Today, there is a different threat to Israel, in this case, to its democracy. This crisis is unique and heartbreaking because it comes from within. I am not generally an alarmist, but at this time, I do feel a sense of alarm. Israel's current government is moving to eviscerate the independence of the judiciary and remake the country's democratic identity. Every Saturday evening for the last 9 months, Israelis have been pouring into the streets across the country. If you add up the people in all the different protests, you have about 200,000 people every week. The biggest protest is in Tel Aviv, but there are demonstrations in Jerusalem and in cities across the country. So why are they in the streets? Because this government, which is the most right-wing and the most religious in Israel's history, has been proposing legislation, and some has passed, that undermines Israel's liberal democracy. So first, what do I mean by liberal democracy? A liberal democracy works to delicately balance the rights of the majority and the rights of the minority. Many members of this government have expressed the desire for majoritarian democracy, where the winner takes all, and they can do whatever they'd like. Just this week, at a Supreme Court hearing challenging a recent piece of Knesset legislation that curtailed some of the court's power, Yariv Levin, Israel's current justice minister, was asked by one of the judges if it would be appropriate for the court to overturn a law that barred Arab citizens from voting, or if the court could block legislation that sets the next election for 10 years from now. Levin would not concede that even those laws could be overturned. Historically, there has been a common understanding of Israel as a liberal democracy. This was true for the center-left and the center-right in Israel. There were sometimes illiberal tendencies at the far extremes, but the liberal democratic consensus was strong. This government has included for the first time people who have been considered too radical for inclusion in previous governments. Here are just a few examples. Itamar Ben-Gvir is head of the Jewish Power Party, the ideological heir of the racist Rabbi Meir Kahane, and as a young man, Ben-Gvir had a picture of Baruch Goldstein hanging in his bedroom. Goldstein was the Jewish terrorist who, on Purim 1994, shot Muslims praying in a mosque, murdering 29 and injuring 125 others. Ben-Gvir was barred from serving in the Israeli Defense Forces due to being considered a security risk. He is now the Minister of Security. And he has advocated for a private militia under his control to police the Israeli Arab community, a message to Arabs in Israel that you don't belong. Bezalel Smotrich, a radical leader of the settlement movement, whose primary objective is to expand settlements and to annex large sections of the West Bank. He would also like to restrict the recognition of conversions from Reform or conservative rabbis. Since this government has been in power, there has been a marked increase in settler violence, including what the Israeli Defense Forces called a pogrom, carried out by settlers in the Palestinian Arab city of Huwara, after 2 Jewish Israelis were murdered by a Palestinian terrorist. The settlers burned Arab cars and homes and businesses. And in its aftermath, Smotrich, Israel's finance minister, said that Huwara should be erased from the map. When Smotrich visited the US, almost all the American Jewish organizations refused to meet with him, seeing him and his comments as beyond the pale. Avi Maoz of the Noam Party proposes that women no longer be able to serve in the Israeli Defense Forces, that LGBTQ pride parades should be banned. He wants to narrow the definition of who is a Jew for the purpose of immigration to Israel under law of return. And there are also 2 ultra-Orthodox parties in this Knesset whose primary legislative goal is a permanent exemption from military or national service for the men and women in their community, and to strengthen the hold of orthodoxy over public life in Israel. The political turmoil roiling Israel is causing a splintering of vital institutions, most importantly, the military, as Israel's most productive and committed citizens revolt against the current government. Military pilots who traditionally continue to volunteer for years beyond their required reserve duty have begun to decline their voluntary service. Army generals and the heads of Israel's security agencies say that this is already harming Israel's military readiness. The tech economy that has powered the startup nation is losing investment, and credit rating agencies have issued warnings about Israel's creditworthiness because of the anti-democratic proposals of the government. If you've been following the protest movement, you know that the Israeli flag has become the symbol of the protest, the symbol of the opposition. These are not anti-Israel protests. The protests are an explosion of love for the country, of passionate patriotism. People are flooding into the streets week after week to fight for the Israel they love, an Israel that is both Jewish and democratic. These proposals are also harming the U.S.-Israel relationship, which is based on shared democratic values. So this is the first time that a sizable part of Israel's population, according to the polls, a majority of Israelis, fear that Israel's democracy is at risk. The majority of Israelis and a strong plurality of Likud voters, voters for Netanyahu's own party, oppose what this government is doing. Many of those with the most marketable skills, particularly in tech and medicine, are looking into the possibility of leaving Israel for Europe or the United States. Over 7 million people have shown up at protests over the last 9 months. And this has occurred with almost no violence. That is quite remarkable. The protesters don't fall in one ideological camp. There are people from the left and the right and the center. There are religious and secular, straight, LGBTQ, military officers, former heads of Israel's security services, students and professors, doctors and teachers, young and old. The greatest success of the protest movement has been its longevity and its continued passion, and the numbers who show up week after week after week. No one thought last January that people would still be demonstrating in the same or greater numbers 9 months later. Remarkable. In Israel, there is little separation of powers. There is no House and Senate, only a single Knesset chamber, and by the nature of the system, the prime minister and his coalition control both the legislature and the executive. Israel has no constitution or Bill of Rights, no built-in checks and balances. It's only the Supreme Court that acts as a check on the government and can protect marginalized populations, women, the LGBT community, immigrants, refugees, widows, divorcees, non-Orthodox Jews, Arabs, and other minorities. The court is the only check on the government's power. This is not really a debate about policy, but about fundamental identity. While the immediate question might be about changes to the courts, the real question that Israel is grappling with is, will Israel be a liberal democratic state, or will it be a majoritarian state on the model of Hungary, Poland, or Turkey? If Israel becomes like Orban's Hungary, American Jews will find it much harder to have a relationship. We will find it harder to have an Israeli flag on our bima. Our relationship is built on our connection to the land and to Jewish history, and also on shared democratic values. Will Israel be a state that is Jewish and democratic, or a state that's primarily Jewish, as some of the Orthodox desire? Will Israel be a state that perpetually controls another people who are denied their basic rights of self-determination and controlled through the military, as some in the settler community desire? Or will it be able to pursue peace and try to find accommodation with the Palestinians and its other neighbors? When Israel is disappointing us, sometimes our reaction is to withdraw, to say, I don't care, or not to get involved. But this is not a time to retreat. This is a time to lean in. Israel is too important for us to abandon it at this time of difficulty. Of course, in the end, Israelis will have the final say as to what happens in Israel, as it should be. However, as supporters and lovers of Israel, each of us can decide what vision of Israel we are going to support. I believe there are 4 things we can do right now. 1, we can educate ourselves, to read the Israeli press, Jerusalem Post, Haaretz, my favorite, The Times of Israel, all available in English online. And you'll get a clearer understanding of Israel and what's happening there. And you'll see a diversity of opinions. Number 2, let Jewish national organizations that you are a part of, Hadassah or AIPAC or J Street or the American Jewish Committee, Federations of North America, ORT, whatever organization, let them know that preserving liberal democracy in Israel should be their top priority. 3, support organizations in Israel that reflect your values. For me, the Israeli Movement for Reform and Progressive Judaism is on the top of my list. Our movement's Israel Religious Action Center works tirelessly to advocate for the rights of women and Arabs and non-Orthodox Jews and the LGBTQ community. After the holy days, I will send out a follow-up email with a number of democracy-enhancing Israeli civic organizations that you can connect with. And finally, we have already had 2 sessions at TBI on the current situation in Israel. I led a discussion in March, and Gary Gilbert led a program just a few weeks ago. Both were really well attended. Many of you were there. As the situation continues to evolve, we will offer other opportunities to learn and to discuss, and I encourage you to be a part of them. An Israeli friend recently said to me, "This is one of the worst and most depressing times in the history of Israel, and also one of the most inspiring." The massive protests week after week demonstrate the commitment of the Israeli people to strengthen their democracy. In addition to the Israeli flag, Israel's Megillat HaAtzmaut, its Declaration of Independence, has become a symbol of the protest movement, with large banners of the declaration at many of the demonstrations and opportunities to add your name as a signatory. One section of the Declaration of Independence reads, "The state of Israel will be open for Jewish emigration and for the ingathering of the exiles. It will foster the development of the country for the benefit of all its inhabitants. It will be based on freedom, justice, and peace, as envisaged by the prophets of Israel, and will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. It will guarantee freedom of religion, conscience, language, education, and culture." Inspiring words. In our time, the Jewish people has experienced a great miracle, the rebirth of the state of Israel. We must not squander it. Hatikva means the hope, and it is not only the Israeli national anthem, but also reflects the optimism of the Jewish people. Israel represents the hope of a 3,000-year-old dream and the hope of a Jewish vision of the world, not as it is, but as it should be. As I watch hundreds of thousands of Israelis demonstrate for the democratic Israel they love, I am inspired and hopeful. When Israel has been under external threat, American Jews have come to its aid. Today, as Israel faces a different kind of threat, I raise my voice to support Israel as a liberal democracy. Israelis on the street each week have asked for my support. Israelis in this congregation have asked for my support. My voice is needed. Your voice is needed as we work to ensure that Israel is a state that is both Jewish and democratic. Lishana Tova, may we all be sealed for a year of blessing in the book of life.
Rabbi, Psalm 27 is a selection from our Ketuvim, our holy writings, the book of Psalms, that is a cornerstone of the preparation period for the High Holy Days. It's also included in our High Holy Day liturgy. And there's one aspect of that. We focus in the piece on that we're about to share with you from the choir, Achat sha'alti mibeit Adonai. One thing I seek, one thing I ask of Adonai, only that do I seek, to dwell in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of Adonai and to frequent his holy place, God's holy place. And I think in light of Rabbi's important words, I hold in my heart the belief and the commitment to make sure that Israel remains a place of liberal democracy, and especially a place where liberal Judaism also has a home. Achat sha'alti.
One thing I
I'd like to invite Ruth Charloff to share some words about our upcoming food drive.
TBI's 23rd annual food drive continues in honorable history. The food drive has been headed up by a series of hardworking leaders, Ethel and David Steinberger for many years, Lisa Smolin and Stan Fink, Deborah Gould, and last year, Jerry Fenning and Vicki Hollander. They have accomplished a wonderful thing, sustaining TBI's ongoing commitment to the food pantry at Inland Valley Hope Partners and cheering us on as our participation has grown year by year, recently reaching 1,000 bags. This year, the job has been divided into 4 committees, all coordinated through a master plan that was carefully worked out by Lillian Matletsky, Laura Katowski, and Lisa Smolin. All told, 18 people have worked together on this project. So, full disclosure, I myself am not the illustrious new leader of the annual food drive. I'm actually here representing the communications subcommittee, and thus it falls to me to stand before you and communicate. So, the main message is what it always is. Please contribute as generously as you can, and let's make a big, effective communal donation of at least 1,000 bags to our friends at Inland Valley Hope Partners. And let's have such wide participation that we'll also feel like celebrating TBI itself as a strong, connected community that can accomplish big things together. We have paper bags donated by local food markets. Please pick them up in the lobby on your way out this evening. They'll also be available right after all of the High Holy Day services and at Shabbat services over the next few weeks. Feel free to take as many as you'll use. Fill bags with non-perishable foods for adults, food for families, food that's nutritious and sustains life, and food that's fun to eat and makes life lighter. Plus, personal hygiene items that people also need to stay healthy and feel okay. And here's a bonus. If you've got kids in your life, maybe you'll bring them shopping with you so they can learn about this act of sharing and tzedakah. Please bring your bags to classroom 12 in our Beit Sefer school building, which is the first corner classroom as you're walking toward the building. You can't miss it. There's a little more information about dropping off. You'll find our flyer in your Kahila newsletter, your Tekiah email, and also on the bags themselves. Or you can donate financially through the special food drive link on the TBI website, or else by check. The funds will be counted as part of our congregation's donation. Bags need to be in by Sunday, October 15th, because on that Sunday morning, with enthusiastic help from our Beit Sefer kids, the bags will be loaded up onto a truck and driven off to help our neighbors in need. You can look forward to seeing festive photos of Pickup Day in the Kahila newsletter and feeling good to have been part of the project. We all know there is hunger and need right here in our community, plenty of it. Food and housing have both become a lot more expensive. 1,000 bags of food won't make hunger go away, but they really do help substantially in providing for the very real daily needs of our very real neighbors. And for those of us who fortunately do have enough to eat, by giving, we can also help to heal ourselves just a little bit from the spiritual wound of looking away from suffering, of feeling overwhelmed by all in our world that needs fixing. Our drive this year honors Jay Eisenberg, whom we heard from right at the beginning of tonight's service. Jay, can you wave, please? That's Jay? Yeah. Jay is a familiar presence around TBI. He's a past president and has also served as VP of Administration, VP of Education, VP of Programs. He's been an energetic fundraiser for us, chairing the golf tournament since 2008 and working on many TBI auctions. And not least, he's been coordinating our High Holy Day services, such as this one, for over a decade. So please donate generously in appreciation for Jay and all his work in keeping the wheels turning at TBI. The food drive is something concrete that we can do here and now, and it will really help, and people really need it. Let's get this done. Thank you. Shana Tova.
Right, Jay was the one a moment ago when I noticed that there was no Kiddush cup on the bima that I said, Jay, and then it appears. See, it's magic. We are on page 78. Lift this cup for the year that is gone, for mountaintop moments and the taste of joy, celebration shared, milestones met, all we've mastered and achieved since last we met. For wedding rings, tears, and kisses under the chuppah, new babies, first words and first steps, for the children who bless our homes and bring life to our community, for b'nai mitzvah and confirmands, young teachers of this holy congregation, ours to cherish and guide with love. For beloved wives and husbands, sisters and brothers, for loyal friends who grow more precious with each passing year, for this community which nourishes us all. For all we've learned, for all we've struggled through, for challenges surmounted and disappointments met with courage, for last moments shared with those we loved and lost, for parents and grandparents whose memories are with us forever. May we lift this glass for the year that is gone and for the year that begins. May we meet it in strength, in unity, in hope. We lift light's cup and celebrate survival, so we may sanctify each day that is ours. We're going to continue in the middle of page 79 with Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'romamanu mikol lashon v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava et yom HaShabbat hazeh ve'yom HaZikaron hazeh yom teruah mikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta V'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim u'davarcha emet v'kayam la'ad Baruch atah Adonai Melech hakol ha'aretz Mikadesh ha'Shabbat v'Yisrael 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 V'yom hazikaron. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam shehecheyanu v'kiyamanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh. Chaim.
Greetings again. Before we finish, just a couple of announcements and then a few words of thanks as well. So please join us tomorrow for our Rosh Hashanah services beginning at 10 o'clock, both here in the sanctuary and also online, followed by a reception hosted by the Board of Trustees. We look forward to seeing everyone there. Our family service will begin at 2 p.m. and Tashlich at 4 p.m. in Red Hill Park in Rancho. Now, a few words of thanks for the many people who contributed to tonight's service. First and foremost, our thanks goes to our dedicated and inspiring clergy, to Rabbi Kupitz and Cantor Bush. We are indeed fortunate that you have called Temple Beth Israel your home for 20 years? For 20 years. For 20 years. Thank you also to Rabbi Kupitz for reminding us of the importance of Israel in our lives as Jews and the current threat to Israel's very identity and the things that we here in the United States can do about it. Thank you to Dr. Randy Polivoy for your wonderful accompaniment that adds richness to our service. Thank you to Ruth Charloff and the choir for lifting our spirits in song. Thank you to Claudia Gonzalez and Ed Beardsley for making it possible for congregants and friends to participate in our service online. Thank you to our temple administrator, Barry Weisband, and the staff at TBI for handling the many, many tasks necessary that make it possible for all of us to be here today. Thank you to Jay Eisenberg for, well, pretty much everything. Most of you may not be aware of the tremendous work that Jay does, not only during the High Holy Days, but really throughout the year and for many years. Honoring him in this year's food drive is really but a small token of our appreciation for the work, Jay, that you do. And thank you to Ruth for launching our food drive and speaking so eloquently about its importance. As you leave here tonight, be sure to take not one, not two, but several bags as your way of helping both those in need and also a way of saying thank you to Jay. And while you're doing that, also pick up a honey stick to help you bring in a sweet new year. Thank you to all of the congregants who participated as readers and who served tonight as ushers. Thank you to my wife, Gretchen, for her support and for not saying, "Are you crazy?" when I told her of my becoming president. And finally, thanks to all of you for your continued support and commitment to Temple Beth Israel tonight and throughout the year at our home together. L'shana tova tikatevu, may you be inscribed for a sweet, healthy, and meaningful new year.
Page 82, Aleinu l'shabeach. If you're comfortable doing so, please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latekidulah leotzer reishit, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 84.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We turn to page 90 in our books as our thoughts turn to those who have shaped our lives, been important to us, and have left this earth. And as it's to Shabbat, we also have our regular Yortzeit list as well. We remember Elaine Cheney Munt, sister-in-law of Yvonne Cheney. We remember the Yortzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Molly Ansell, Philip Bryn, Ethel Myers, Phil Strober, Margaret Budrovic, Dr. Harold A. Kipper, Emil Schaefer, Parvitz Zahuri, Sadie Finkelstein, Isaac Kazansky, Mildred Rutledge, Lupe Bernardino, Imre Geiger, Edwin Rose, Ann Schilling, Louis Entel, Rita Geller, Harold Gould, Erwin Perlman, Stanley Schrager, Liana Swetland, Morris Gitterman, Mildred Kaplan, Peter Nortman, Morris Rochester, and Suzanne Siegel. If you're remembering somebody this week, we hold all of those who we're remembering at this day, and we feel presence perhaps even more today on Rosh Hashanah, which is also known as Yom HaZikaron, as a day of remembrance, because we ask God to remember us, but I often think because we also remember those who used to stand with us or sit near us and whose chairs are empty, and we feel them with us at this time as we join in the words of Kaddish on page 90. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach hiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon v'yomachon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei d'kudusha brichu, le'ela ul'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. We're turn to page 98. Please join in the indented text. Our God and God of all generations before us, may it be your will in the coming year to grant us a year of abundance and atonement,
A year of blessings bestowed and received,
a year of community and compassion,
a year of delight and exultation,
a year of enlightenment,
and friendship and forgiveness,
a year of going up in gladness to the land of Israel,
a year of health and healing and humor,
a year of inner strength and well-being,
a year of joy and Jewish celebration,
a year of knowledge and learning for its own sake,
a year of love between parents and children, friends and spouses, brothers and sisters,
a year of mitzvot and moments of sweetness,
a year of nature protected and enjoyed,
a year of optimism and hope,
a year of peace pursued with perseverance,
a year of quiet and tranquility,
a year of rain in its season,
a year of song and spiritual growth,
a year of Torah study and tikkun olam,
a year of understanding and unity,
a year of vows fulfilled and violence overcome,
a year of wisdom acquired and shared,
a year of coexistence among the families of the earth,
a year of young and old reaching out to one another,
a year of Zion aglow with light for us and all the world.
Our God and God of the generations before us, grant us a year of gratitude to you for the most profound of blessing, your gift of life. We conclude with Lishana Tova, page 99.
Lishana Tova Tikatevu, Lishana Tova Tikatevu, Lishana Tova, Lishana Tova, Lishana Tova, Tikatevu.
L'Shana Tova. See you tomorrow.
What time?
10 a.m.